Standing emergency. Standing emergency.
My mom and Daddy are having a fight.
Everyone claims they don't condone domestic violence or wants to see it happen to their loved ones. However, it is a widely prevalent subject regardless of one's culture, religion, or sexual orientation. Despite being a universal issue, the way domestic violence affects a person is very personal, as one has to deal with the mental and emotional abuse that lingers, not to mention the feeling of worthlessness, lack of self-esteem, and even the way it simply affects one's daily life and interaction with other people. Here's a true story of a domestic violence survivor.
Honestly, it was tough because even though those things did happen, there was still some type of feelings that I had for him. Me and my ex met, I think it was about 2 years ago, and we were together for about a year. Actually, I would say more like 7 months. I would say like the littlest things, and he would just spaz on me. And after a while, it started getting really physical. It got to the point where I looked at myself and was thinking, there's no way it can happen like this. He was Muslim, and in Islam, they value their women. But in his household, they didn't really practice Islam. Like, he wasn't taught what to do or what not to do. He wasn't even shown the right way to follow Islam.
Despite the way domestic violence affects victims personally, another factor that could possibly influence it is religion. When religion is incorporated, there are questions that arise, such as, what does the church say about domestic violence? What role do religious leaders and the religious community play to confront domestic violence? And what resources are within churches for domestic violence victims and survivors? Unfortunately, these questions are not asked enough. So this is the topic that we chose to explore.
What does the Catholic faith say about domestic violence?
Yeah, we would say zero tolerance for it. As I mentioned before, there's a document that the Bishops' Conference put out in the 90s and then revised in 2002 and deals with when I call for help, that whole issue of outline what we should take upon it. So we would never ask anyone to remain in a marriage where there's abuse taking place. So the church would say that's not what a marriage is supposed to be.
Right.
It's supposed to be mutual respect for one another. Sometimes people use the scriptures, Ephesians, when it speaks about wives be submissive to your husbands. But if you read that further on, it also mentions that the husbands should be submissive as Christ is to his church.
Religions are of a patriarchal nature, and I know forgiveness is obviously a huge factor in all these religions. Now, how would that play out in the Catholic religion regarding domestic violence?
Yeah, I mean, one always looks for forgiveness. Doesn't mean that one has to remain in that relationship.
However, there are resources to help victims and survivors of domestic violence.
If they wanted to get out of it, there is a number that we could call to help them. And I believe the WMTA does it as well. We have Catholic Charities. They basically will do counseling, not for the couples together, obviously, but either for the one who's been abused or counseling for anger management or something so forth for the other one.
Even though domestic violence is a universal issue, it is also one close to home. In fact, people between the ages of 18 to 24 experience the highest rate of domestic violence. So whether it's our professors, friends, or fellow students, there is someone that might be going through it. VCU also offers counseling resources for students, staff, and faculty, as well as resources with the Wellness Resource Center.
In terms of the resources that we have here in the office, we do all kinds of programming all throughout the year. So for example, we start off the year with a program called Love and Liquor that we provide for about 2,500 first-year students in a matter of 4 days. And the program focuses on alcohol and what it does to the body and how to drink responsibly. And we also talk about sexual assault, stalking, and dating violence.
As Martin Luther King Jr. said, we have inherited a world house, a large world house in which we have to live together.
So it is our hope that not only we work towards eliminating domestic violence, but that we also are aware of each other's problems and suffering as we are all interconnected.
After all, if we don't take care of each other, then who will? So it is our hope that this video opens up an ethical and compassionate discourse on domestic violence.